Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, glory, and the highest honor to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Bahasham, HaKadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone. Shalom to the hopeful elect of Hebrew Israelites. This is Brother Arakia coming back with a lesson right here. And I want to speak on something real quick, right? You see in the screen there is Blake Griffin with his son. Now, his son looks like an Edomite. Blake Griffin pretty much looks like he's mixed, or what you would call a light skin, but even more so, he just looks, mixed, When in this picture, for instance, he don't look like your typical Israelite, but he also don't look like an Edomite, okay? You can see even his hair structure. Now, on the other hand, his son looks like a straight up white baby or white boy, white toddler. And this is the mother. You see, a so-called white woman. But now, we know that the mother doesn't determine the nationality of the offspring. Let me open up with Numbers chapter 1 and verse 18. And they assembled all the congregation together on the first day of the second month, and they declared their pedigrees after their families by the house of their fathers, according to the number of the names from 20 years old and upward by their poll. So what you can see here is that nationality is determined by your father. Okay, not by your mother, but by your father. It says according to the house of their father. So Blake Griffin, his father is a so-called black man. Now, let me show that real quick. This is to not get carnal, but understanding that being an Israelite is a genealogical, is a seed thing. Right, so here you see Blake Griffin with his parents. See, the father is very dark, no one would have a problem saying his father is an Israelite. Now Blake, because his mother is ginger, so he received those pretty strong so-called white genes. Because normally when you have this situation, and also his father, yes, he's very dark, but he doesn't have I was going to say he doesn't have very exaggerated Jake facial features, which you can kind of say, but at the same time he kind of does. Okay, so normally when you have a so-called black or West African father and a white mother, the offspring comes looking more so as their father. Okay, in so much that in some instances you can think that both of the parents are so-called black. So here you have Blake Griffin with his parents, right? Which is an Israelite man and a woman which appears to be an Edomite, but she may be Scottish, Irish, and his mother may very well be an Israelite as well. Now I showed the picture with Blake Griffin and his woman and their offspring, which looks like a straight up a white boy, which, if you are carnal, okay, you would then say that, hey, that boy, that's an Edomite boy. That boy going to slavery. Wait a minute, bro. Wait a minute. That son is an Israelite. You see? And Blake Griffin definitely is an Israelite. Okay? Not only because of his father, but how you see him slam dunk them alley-oops, bro. That was called the Lob City. You had Chris Paul, CP3, you had DeAndre Jordan, you had Blake Griffin at LA Clippers. And they was throwing it down, man. Lob City. Alley-oop after alley-oop, bro. Even watching Blake Griffin play ball, he's an Israelite. So this video was inspired by certain Jake. We had a quick exchange of comments on Instagram because he made a comment that Yahweh hates white people. But that's not what the scripture says. The scripture say that Yahweh hates Edomites, and that individual who I was exchanging a few comments didn't seem to understand that there's a difference with white people and Edomites. I said yes, mostly Edomites are white people, but not all white people are Edomites. I even gave example of Blake Griffin's son and of Neymar Jr., the athlete, his son, which both look like so-called white people but are not. So this is Malachi chapter 1 verse 1, the burden of the Lord, the burden of the word of the Lord Yahweh to Israel by Malachi. I have loved you, saith the Lord Yahweh. Yet ye say, wherein hast thou loved us? Was not Esau Jacob's brother? Said the Lord. Yet I loved Jacob, and I hated Esau, and laid his mountains and his heritage waste for the dragons of the wilderness. Yes, Yahweh hates Esau. It doesn't say here Yahweh hates Caucasians or white people. Another example is Conor McGregor. You can see it's an Israelite. Okay. You see these so-called Caucasians that have salt, that has that certain flavor. These are not no Edomites, bro. I mean, come on now. Okay. These are not Israelites. So okay, these are not Edomites, but these are indeed Israelites. Okay. So the person didn't grasp the context that there are so-called white-looking people that indeed are Israelites. Furthermore, there are Israelites in this truth in different camps of GMS that appear to be so-called white people, but are Israelites. Okay, Jake cannot be so damn carnal, man. I mean, our elders paved this way already, bro. This is a conversation that happened already, bro. This conversation that happened already in the 1 West 125th Street in the school, when we had Elder Apostle Gabar give the presentation that Cornelius was an Israelite. Okay, and that was opening the doors of understanding that I believe it was him, Elder Apostle Gabar, who said that not every Israelite is going to come looking as John Shaft. Okay? You see? But you're gonna have Israelite foreigners, Israelite that look like Chinese, Israelite that look Arabic, Israelite that look like so-called white people. Okay? And that was a thing back then. But here it is, to this day you have Israelites who are having difficulty understanding that Israelites come in all in all colors, man, in all physical appearances, bro. Malachi 1 and 4, whereas Edom said, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. Thus saith the Lord, power of hosts, they shall build, but I will throw down, and they shall call them the border of wickedness, and the people against whom the Lord Yahweh has indignation forever. So the hatred is against Edomites, not against so-called white people. Now that's being very carnal, you see. Romans chapter 8 verse 16, the Spirit itself beareth witness with our spirit that we are the children of the Most High. So this is a spiritual thing. If you first and foremost, if you understand this truth, you truly believe in Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shai, this shows you that you are of the children of the Most High, if you sincerely believe, man. Okay. Then if you have flavor, you have salt, you know how to dance, and all these things. We cannot judge a book by its cover. You have to try the spirits. Okay? Elvis Presley. Bro, you telling me he was an Edomite? Okay? Even this so-called Hulk Hogan that just passed, which he said some fucked up stuff. He had a loose mouth, bro. His paternal grandfather was from Italy, from northern Italy. Now we know many Italians are Israelites, bro. The Sicilians, which they are now is in the south, or it's an island in the southwest of Italy. But yeah, that's Israelites, bro. Many Italians are Israelites. Hulk Hogan, he might have been an Israelite. I'm saying this as a man. I'm not saying it's part of doctrine that Hulk Hogan is an Israelite, but I'm saying it's a possibility. You see? And there's even a movie scene from True Romance that shows you that the Sicilians were actually that they're niggas basically. Okay? But they today pass as so-called white people. So you cannot go by appearance alone. They gotta graduate from that carnal mentality. You just look someone. Oh, that's white person. Okay. So hey, is this an Edomite? Is this an Edomite, bro? I mean, you would think it's not complicated, but then again, for some Israelites, it just is complicated. And that's for the brothers, that have learned under the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, we have to be, very grateful, the different elders and brothers that have learned under elders and apostles of GMS, because we have been guided to fully understand these truths, secrets, man. Okay, the full truth. Apostle Paul said he has not shunned to declare all the gospel of the Most High, or was it all the knowledge of the Most High? Just paraphrasing. Okay. So yeah, we've been scattered. So of course we have had, our men have produced offspring with women of these other nations, and then the offspring gonna look different, but they're still Israelites. They still go back to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. This is James 1 and 1. James, a servant of the Most High and of the Lord Yahweh Shai HaMashiach, to the 12 tribes which are scattered abroad, greeting. And that was 2,000 years ago. And even before that, the Israelites had been, scattered. So, just put two and two together, man. We look like all the nations under the sun, and your appearance doesn't determine your nationality, it's your spirit, which does, it shows clues whether you might be an Israelite or not. But in the kingdom is going to be made, manifest exactly who are Israelites, who are not. Furthermore, there are some so-called black people that are actually Edomites. You had these so-called slave masters, these white slave masters that would, make offspring with so-called black woman. But guess what? That offspring is Esau. That offspring, they are Edomites. So, of course, whether you are Israelite or not, it's determined if your lineage goes back to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. But you have to understand that there has been a lot of mixing. So, we have the 12-tribe chart. It's a basic indicator, but the truth goes further than the 12-tribe chart concerning the Israelites today. Okay? And a perfect example is the son of Blake Griffin, which is an Israelite that looks like a straight up Edomite. Come on now. Okay. So, I said my, Lord willing, the video was edifying. Okay, I said all that was of my spirit for this lesson. In closing, I want to say all praise, glory, and highest honor to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahushai Bahasham Hakdash, double honors to the elders and pastors of Great Millstone, and shalom to the hopeful elect.